The Longhouse by Connolly. Cam led me along the walkway between the wooden buildings of the Longhouse. The sun shone directly overhead, and the bamboo planks burned through the thin soles of my shoes. I followed close behind and watched the sweat seep from his hairline and run down the back of his neck, darkening the collar of his shirt. When we passed an open door, he clapped his hands at a yellow shape lying under the porch step. "Hi," he said, "even the dogs look for shade on a day like this." Everyone else in the group had gone whitewater rafting, but as I had asked Cam a lot of questions about himself and his family, he offered to show me his home. I wanted to spend more time with him, so I was happy to stay behind. As we walked along, he pointed to a single-storey building which stood further away among the trees, surrounded by forest ferns and shrubs. "An Englishman lives there," he said. "He married a woman from our village and built that house for her." "What does he do here?" "He's very old. His wife died a long time ago and we take care of him. He's part of our family now." At the end of the Longhouse, we stopped outside a small windowless building. Cam ducked under the low doorway and stepped into the gloom. I followed him inside and blinked at shards of daylight that pushed through gaps between the walls and the roof. He stood with his back to me, muttering rhythmically under his breath. The room seemed to be empty, but as I walked past him, I saw a small metal cage suspended from a beam at the same height as his head. His hands were raised, palm upwards, and he was staring at the white face of a human skull behind the bars. When he finished speaking, he took a key from his pocket and unlocked a door at the side of the cage. He took the skull and held it out in front of him, looking at it closely from all sides. "I had to apologize for disturbing him," he said, "to show respect." "Who is it?" "I don't know for sure. One of our ancestors, I think. Or maybe an enemy from an old battle," he said with a smile. "We're Christians now and pray in church, but it's important that we keep our traditions." Cam rolled the skull gently around in his hands. He looked very still and calm, as though he was thinking of things far away from his work as a tourist guide, driving a minibus and learning languages at night school. "Is there just the one?" I asked. "There were others, but they were stolen. That's why we keep him in this cage. We look after him, and he protects the Longhouse." The skull glowed in the darkness of the room as Cam caressed it. I wanted to hold it in my own hands, to feel the smooth surface of the bone. I wanted to wrap my fingers around him and touch the cool depth of his thoughts, to press my thumbs into the hollows of his eyes and see the forest paths he had walked and the waterfalls and pools where he dived and swam. I wanted the sharp edge of his jaw to draw blood across my palm. "Can I hold him?" "No," he said, "you don't know the words." "You can teach me the words, Cam." "No, only the shaman can teach the words, and he's not been here for years." Cam put the skull back in its cage and turned the key. We went outside into the blaze of the afternoon. My polo shirt and chinos were damp with sweat, and my shoes were beginning to blister my heels. I looked over to the house in the trees and saw an old man in a white vest sitting in the shade of his veranda. He raised his hand, and I waved back. "I wonder if he knows the words," I thought. "I wonder how long you have to stay here before you can learn the words." The end. Connolly is a short story writer who lives in the Derwent Valley in County Durham. His first collection, The Gift, was published by Pontburn Press in January 2023.